Hmm. The next method what we are learning is the put method. Okay, what we have completed so far. Let me take a quick revision of that as well. So we started with how we can write down the web services and how we can make a business logic to be get exposed for third party system so that they could become consumer and we could become the providers. Like in the Salesforce, we could become the provider and they could consume the resources. For that we have seen that there are few of the different HTTP protocols. There are a few of the different HTTP methods. Now get is to retrieve the data from any of the Salesforce object, right? Post, we have seen this yesterday. We have written the program where we could insert a record. Using the web services, we could insert the record inside Salesforce. Now, delete is also have been completed, and now what we are learning right now is to like how we can perform the update operation. To perform the update operation, we have one of the method called as put. And patch is I will be giving you this because patch is used to perform the upsert operation. If there is a record, it's going to update. If there is no record, then it's going to be get inserted. So basically, it's a combination of post and put, right? So yesterday we have seen post method. Today we are going to complete with the put method. So patch I will be giving you this in the assignment in the homework. After that, probably by today itself, I will be showing you how what does it means by, or rather in the next lecture or whatever. So what does it means by OAuth authentication process and how we can accomplish that OAuth authentication. So that would going to be the last topic, your integration. Anyways, so we have only two topics left with us. Like we have only two topics left with us. Let me start with the HTTP put method. Post we already have seen. So HTTP put is actually used to perform the update operation, right? So if there is already a record inside the Salesforce object and we wanted to perform some sort of updation with the help of a web service, then we actually make a use of HTTP put method, right? So by using this method, what we can do is we can prepare such a kind of web services which actually allows the user to perform the update operation inside any of the objects record. That is what the theory, right? So by using this method, put method, what we can do is we can definitely prepare such kind of web service which actually allows the user perform the update operation in the existing records inside the Salesforce object. And we can definitely perform updation in one and more than one records as well. So we'll be going to see that examples when how to update one record and how to update multiple records with the help of JSON payload. That is what. Okay, so let me create this web service that we would be updating the case record. We're writing a web service that is going to update the case record with the specified status priority. Okay, based on the case number. Let me see the payload. So in the JSON payload, what in the input? I mean, in the input, what are the parameters are coming? Case number is coming, priority is coming, and status, right? So based on all these, I mean, based on the case number and based on the case number, we wanted to perform the updation in two of the fields, priority and status. Let's say there is a case. Let's say there is a case with this number. The priority was low, and now with this recent input, with this reset input, we set up the priority as high, and we set up the case status as to be working. So if you go to the case object and you open this case number, see the case number have something called as a status field. It's a pick list menu. It's a pick list. It have teen values like new, working, and escalated. And then the priorities as well. There's a field called as priority. There's a field called as priority. You can see over here that cases have three different types of priority: high, medium, low. So, for example, let me try to uh, let me make some changes over here itself. Let me do the status as new. Okay, and the case priority, I'm setting it as low. Okay. So for this particular case number, we will be doing one thing. Let me set up this. Let me set up this inside JSON payload. So the case number is the case number is this one. And for this number, you can see the existing priority is low. Now with the web service, we are making that priority is high. The existing status, what you can see over here is new, and with the web service, we are going to make it working. Okay, that's all. I mean, in short, what we are trying to do, we are trying to update this particular case record. But from where? From where we are updating? We are updating this from external third-party system. That means external third-party system would initiate this request to update via web service what we are going to create, and in the JSON payload, in the input payload, it's going to transfer these three parameters. That is what is your use case. So let's create that particular web service. So I'm creating a web service with this name. New apex class, and let's now make this class as to be a web service. So for that, the access specifier must only be the global, because all web services are going to be exposed externally. So the access specifier must always be global. And then rest resource with URL mapping equals to, let's give any name for that, for example, case manager, or rather case update manager. Something you can give any name for that. That's perfectly fine. Okay. After that, now because I wanted to create a method to perform the update operation, so I'm calling this method STTP put method. Put is used to perform the update operation. So it's like give the name global and static. Global static. Now give a what would the return type. Return type would be like string. It's going to give a message. Record succeeded or failed, whatever. And then let me give a method name as to be update case record. And because you see it is accepting three parameters, you can see that it's accepting actually three parameters. So case number and the priority and the status. Okay, I will be taking this whole number as a string only. I'll be taking this whole number as a string. So inside the parameter section, let me take string. Let me copy the same thing. Say string C number, and then string second value is like C priority, and then the second value is string C status. So these are the three parameters that are coming from the JSON payload, right? So we need to capture those parameters, and so I have declared three parameters for this particular method, right? And then the next I would like to do is like the first thing I would check is like whether this case number is not empty, because if we wanted to perform any updation, see if we wanted to perform any updation, we are going to fire a query based on case number. So that field should essentially be important, right? So before even I start writing my logic and even start writing the SQL query, I first of all should rather check for that null pointer exception as a best practice. So what I'll be doing is like if I'm just checking for this, if C number, if this value, if it is not equals to null, if it is not equals to null, or it is not, or and it is not equals not or and it is not equals to empty. If it is not, so if it is not equals to empty, so if this is the case, that means one case number has been supplied, one case number has been received inside this case number. So if it is not equals to null, and if it is not equals to empty, then let's pick up that particular case. For that I'll be writing one SQL query. One SQL query. Select what ID and like case number, and then priority priority, and then status. Okay, status. We can fetch all other fields as well, but I don't think there's any meaning to fetch that, because in the JSON payload you can see there are three inputs that are coming for this particular web service, right? So we are fetching that case number, we are also fetching that priority, and we are fetching the status. If you wanted, you can definitely fetch, but as a best practice, you know one thing. Always try to fetch only those data from SQL which we actually require, right, in the business logic. In the formation of business logic, whatever is required, just fetch that required data only. Because we are dealing with the cloud technology, right? We should avoid this fetching of unnecessary things with the SQL. So from the case, and where where the case number is equals to a dynamically assigned is coming inside this variable. So I'm actually wanted as well. So the case number should be this. Now see, because this is going to return me only one record of the type case. So what I will be doing is like, I'm collecting this inside one of the variable case record, like this one, right? Like this one. Of the case where the case numbers looks like this. Okay. So let me save up to this code. Yeah, it will ask for the return type. Okay. So now you once you have fetched on once you have fetched this, right, once you have fetched this, let's check for whether, whether the case this particular variable is having a record or not. So for that, I'm actually checking, right, I'm actually checking that if the c record, okay, dot c record dot id, okay, c record dot id is not equals to 1. That means one record has been fetched. That means one record. The query successfully fetched one of the record, right? So if it is not equals to null, after performing this, after getting that case number and you are firing it inside the query, if it's not equals to null, that means आपको वो case number के against में एक record मिल गया है. Now what required to do is like, c record dot, ठीक है, c record dot priority, c record dot priority equals to ये priority में जो आया है, that should get assigned, ठीक है, that should get assigned. And similarly, c record dot status, c record dot status field. C record. That's why it was not fetching. C record dot status. This should equals to this particular C status. Okay. Check. C status. So now we have assigned this value. ये जो values आई है that we have assigned, but we have assigned this inside what? Inside the object. अभी we wanted this to be get committed. We wanted this to be get committed to the database. And so after this has been done, what you will be writing is like an update. Update. What we wanted to update? I wanted to update C. I wanted to update C record. And the same, after performing this, write a return statement that return one string record case record updated successfully. Right. This is what this means. So this is when we are able to fetch the record with this case record number. Else return case record not found with this case number. जो भी केस नंबर आपने एंटर किया है उसके अगेंस्ट में कोई भी केस रिकॉर्ड नहीं है. एक केस नंबर इज नॉट. दिस इज फॉर दिस. ठीक है. इसके लिए हाँ, अगर बाय द वे सी इसके लिए अगर इफ समबडी इज एंटरिंग के अगर ये केस रिकॉर्ड ही नहीं दिया उसने, ठीक है, अगर केस रिकॉर्ड की वैल्यू ही नल है, दैट कुड आल्सो पॉसिबल. तो इसके लिए फिर हमको यहाँ पे लिखना चाहिए कि एल्स रिटर्न प्लीज प्रोवाइड द केस नंबर. क्या मतलब जब तक आप केस नंबर नहीं दोगे तब तक हम कैसे डेटा को फैच करेंगे, ठीक है, तब तक हम कैसे डेटा को फैच करेंगे. सो दैट्स व्हाई वी आर आस्किंग यू टू प्रोवाइड द केस नंबर. Okay, chalo. So completed with the program. Let me now test this. We are going to workbench. Let me first of all log in into the production. Yes. So let me first of all log in into the production. Okay. Now go to utilities. Go to REST Explorer. What is the method that we have created? What is the method that we have created? We created a put method, right? So let me write on that apex REST over here. And over here, over here, I should give the name of my web service. The web service name is case update manager. Now here I should give that JSON payload I wanted to update. So this is the payload what I wanted to update. So I'm giving that payload over here. Okay, I'm giving that payload here. Anyways, now let's execute this code. Case record updated successful. That means this particular case now. And you can see the status is new, priority is low. Let me now try to refresh this and see what happens. So the priority becomes high and the status becomes working. What you have actually supplied into your JSON, right? So this is how, this is how we can perform, we can use the put method. This is how we can use the put method. अब ये क्या था? This was like, updating just one record. अभी ये next example देखो. Create a web service to assign the rating value and the annual revenue value. Rating value and annual revenue value for the records based on the industry. So here user will going to supply industry name. User will going to supply an industry name. For example, if there is any record, I think this is for the account object. Yeah, for any record, like if the industry is banking, the rating should become hot and annual revenue should become this. If the industry is finance, right? So the rating should become this and annual revenue should become this. If the industry is insurance, the rating should become hot for that particular record and the annual revenue should become this particular. ठीक है, तो ये कैसे किया हमने? What we are accepting from the user. Okay, let me design this program. चलो मैं बना ही लेता हूँ. So with this name account record service manager, I'm creating a class for that. इसके बाद मैं patch method में यही समझा दूंगा that I wanted you to design that. Right? फिर भाई को खिलाओ. Okay. So let me create one more class. एक class और बना ही लेता हूँ. So with this name, I'm creating a method. I'm creating a class. And let's make this class as a web service. So if you wanted to make this as a web service, the class must be a global class. Or for making this web service is must annotate with one of the keyword called as REST resource. REST resource with URL mapping. Give the name of the mapping inside your single inverted comma. Right? Inside your single inverted. So let me give any name, for example. Bottom, bottom account update service. ठीक है, account update service. So with this name, I'm creating the class. This name, save it. Now, see what we want. We wanted कि अगर user से हम input as an input, what we are asking for the user. देखो इसका जो payload है, we are just asking the user to enter the industry value. Industry values को enter करने. Now, for example, if he is entering industry as an education, so what should precisely happen? What should precisely happen is like, if you go to the, if you go to the accounts and click on this, Let me arrange this according to industry. Now see, for example, okay, so for example, if the industry is banking, if the industry is banking, so all of those records whose industry is banking, all of those records whose industry is banking. So for all of those records whose industry is banking, the rating should become hot and annual revenue should become this one, right? अभी कैसा है कि here you can see for some of the record the rating should be rating is, I mean there's no rating, right? You can see and annual revenue की वैल्यू अलग है, यहाँ पे भी हो सकता है अलग है, यहाँ पे अलग है, यहाँ पे रेटिंग हॉट है, यहाँ पे रेटिंग शायद यहाँ ही नहीं है, कोल्ड हो सकती है, ऐसा कुछ. सो व्हाट वी वांटेड टू सिंक्रोनाइज इन सच अ वे कि अगर यूजर से आप बोल रहे हो बैंकिंग, यूजर इज एंटरिंग बैंकिंग, तो वो सब रिकॉर्ड जो है कि इंडस्ट्री उसका रेटिंग हो जाना चाहिए हॉट एंड उसका एनुअल रेवेन्यू शुड बिकम दिस वन. What we are asking the user to enter. What we are asking, you are asking the user to enter the industry. And based on that, based on this table, based on this table, we are going to build up the logic. ऐसा हम बोल रहे हैं, ठीक है, ऐसा. तो अगर वो एजुकेशन बोलता है, यूजर इज एंटरिंग एजुकेशन, उसमें क्या होना चाहिए कि सबकी रेटिंग फोल्ड हो जानी चाहिए और एनुअल रेवेन्यू की वैल्यू ये हो जानी चाहिए ऑटोमेटिकली. फॉर दैट वी आर गोइंग टू राइट ऑन द वेब सर्विस. चलो देखते हैं कैसे फुलफिल करते हैं. Yeah. So for that, I'll be creating a method. Of course, that method is going to perform the updation. तो updation के लिए आपके पास में होती है STTP put method. STTP put method. Now let's create that global static, and here also we will be returning some string, है ना, तो उसके लिए static, and then give the name of the method update account records. ठीक है, this is my string name. This is my method. एंड देन व्हाट इट इज, अब ये जेसन पेलोड्स में देखो आपकी ये क्या लेके आएगा अपने साथ, व्हेनेवर दिस विल गोइंग टू टेक दिस एसीसी इंडस्ट्री की वैल्यू लेके आएगा, एंड सो इट्स ब्रिंगिंग अप ऑन स्ट्रिंग दिस स्ट्रिंग एसीसी इंडस्ट्री. ठीक है, चलो. सो एज अ बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस आई शुड ऑलवेज चेक whether this ACC industry is having a value or not. So if my ACC industry, let me copy this. If the value of ACC industry is not equals to null, okay, if it is not equals to null, and the value of ACC industry should not equals to empty, that means that best practice of your null pointer exception. तो अगर ऐसा है फिर आप let me design a query for that. Select what we wanted to select. For example, we want to select ID and a name. After the name we wanted to select what I wanted to update, industry and rating. Industry चाहिए मुझे, और what we are updating, rating, annual revenue. ठीक है, तो इंडस्ट्री के अलावा I wanted like rating and I wanted the value of annual REV annual revenue. ठीक है, I wanted to fetch all this from where, from account where the industry value is coming from user. So we are capturing it dynamically inside this variable, and from this variable I am taking the value, right? I am taking the, okay. Now what this query is going to, what this query is expected to return, I mean how much record this query is expected to return. Because see, agar if you are passing the industry as banking, so you can see the multiple records are going to be get returned, right? Biotechnology 3 records, consulting construction 1 record, consulting 2 record, education 1. So there is a chance, there is a chance that this query is going to return me multiple values. So when your query is returning you multiple value, we always collect it inside a list collection, and so I'm writing list of account, LST accounts equals to this particular query. Okay, list account equals to this particular. Now चलो अब इसके आगे अपन लॉजिक डेवलप करते हैं कि आफ्टर डूइंग दिस व्हाट शुड हैपन. सो if my this LST account is not empty, right? If not of LST account dot is empty, if it is not empty, if it is not empty, that means it must have a records inside this. Then let's perform everything. तो अब हमें सारे रिकॉर्ड्स को फेच करना है वन बाय वन. ठीक है, जितने भी, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपके ये क्वेरी की मदद से यू हैव फेच लाइक 10 रिकॉर्ड्स, आपने आपने बैंकिंग दिया और बैंकिंग देने के बाद से आपको क्वेरी ने कितने रिकॉर्ड फेच करके दिए कि फॉर एग्जांपल 10 रिकॉर्ड फेच करके दिए। तो अभी मुझे एक एक रिकॉर्ड फेच करना है और उसको एडिट करना है, एक एक रिकॉर्ड फेच करना है और एडिट करना है। सो एक एक रिकॉर्ड फेच करके एडिट करने के लिए मैं फॉर लूप लगा रहा हूँ। कहाँ से फेच करना है दिस फॉर लूप, एनहांस फॉर लूप एक्चुअली कहाँ से फेच करना है, आई वांटेड इट टू बी फेच फ्रॉम दिस लिस्ट कलेक्शन। जो भी एक एक रिकॉर्ड आ रहा है यहाँ उसका डेटा टाइप क्या है, अकाउंट, ठीक है, उसका डेटा टाइप क्या अकाउंट, एंड टेक एनी लोकल वेरिएबल फॉर दैट। सो फॉर अकाउंट acc फॉर एवरी अकाउंट फ्रॉम दिस नाउ व्हाट आई वांटेड, अब यहाँ पर मैं एक स्विच स्टेटमेंट यूज कर सकता हूँ, स्विच ऑन, स्विच ऑन acc dot acc dot acc dot taking any कोई प्रॉब्लम, acc dot industry, स्विच ऑन acc dot industry, इंडस्ट्री पे स्विच करो, ठीक है, इंडस्ट्री पे स्विच करो। सो व्हेन, now let's go with the logic, when it is banking, if the industry is banking, if the industry is banking, if the value of the industry is banking, if it's banking, what you require to do, you require to make the changes in two things, rating or annual revenue. So acc dot, yeah, why it is not picking, ठीक है चलो acc dot rating equals to what I wanted for industry, it should be hot, right, it should be hot, and so it should be hot, and then acc dot, the next is annual revenue, the annual revenue should becomes, annual revenue is a decimal field, so it should be given directly. What is that value? This value. So I should remove the comma from. I should remove the comma. Annual revenue should become this one, right? So when it is banking, let me copy this code. Okay. And the second is when it is finance. When it is like finance, the rating should become warm. The rating should become warm, and annual revenue should become this value. So annual revenue should become this value. Okay. And then let me copy this once again, pasted it over here. When it is insurance, so when it is insurance, so the industry is insurance, the rating should be like hot, the rating value should become hot, annual revenue value should become this. Yeah, annual revenue value should become this. Yeah, and then after this, when it is like after insurance, it's education, so when it's education, the rating should become cold for every record whose industry is education, and the annual revenue should become this value, 41 lakh. Okay, and then let me copy this once again, pasted it over here. And when the industry is consulting, when the industry is like consulting, so the rating should become warm, the rating should become warm, and 50 lakh should become your annual. Okay, so after this, like if everything goes fine, if everything goes fine for this, for every account, yeah, out of the for loop matlab inside this if statement, so it's going to end it over here. Here I would like to update that list. So here I will be giving update because we never give DML statements, we never give DML statement inside the loop. So update, what we wanted to update, I wanted to update this LST account. I wanted to update. Yeah, I wanted to update this only LST accounts and then return like REC record updated. Okay, this is the statement I would like to read. And if this not happens, you can give one another message for that. Else में जाके फिर एक दूसरा message दे सकते for this. Else I could give is like return. I could give no matching found with history name. So whatever the name you have supplied. For example, if apart from this list, अगर उसने कुछ और supply कर रहा है user, तो we should give him a message कि इसके साथ हमको कोई matching नहीं मिल रही Salesforce में, right? इसके साथ हमको कोई matching नहीं मिल रही, तो ये इसके लिए हो गया. This is for this कि if the LST account is not empty. अगर by the way industry की value ही नहीं दे रहा है वो, if is not giving the value, तो matching कहाँ से आएगा? फिर इसके लिए फिर एक else statement में मैं ये लिख सकता हूँ कि after this, after this what we can write is like else return, please enter the please enter the industry name. You are supposed to enter the industry name, and then only we could start making the comparisons and everything. So if you are not entering the industry name, if the industry name is null or it is empty, then we are giving this message here, please enter the industry name. How could you ask, how could you expect us to compare with blank industry name? और अगर वो इंडस्ट्री नेम दे रहा है जो इस लिस्ट के बाहर है, तो अब हम बोलेंगे यार नहीं, आप जो आपने दिया वो मैचिंग नहीं हो रही है ना, वो आपसे मैच नहीं, और फिर अगर वो ऐसा कुछ दे रहा है जो जिसके मैच हो जाता है, तो फिर ठीक है, फिर अपन ये जो लॉजिक परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो दिस वाज द कोड. नाउ लेट्स एग्जीक्यूट दिस कोड. So first of all, let's try to save it. Yeah, it's already saved. So let's go to your method name. This time is like account update service. Account update service. And what we require to give like JSON payload is this is the JSON payload. We just giving the value. So the value what we are giving, and I'm giving this value as banking. Okay, this is the value I'm giving. So what we are expecting, all of these banking records. See, all of these banking records, the annual revenue value would become, the annual revenue value would become this 79 lakh, and rating is going to become hot. Rating is going to become right. This is what we are expecting. Anyway, so all these will count. So there is one of the error over here. System.dml update failed with ID 001. This record has been failed. Field custom extent. Please select the fax number. Okay. So see why this has been failed, because we have written a certain validation rule. It could be like a validation rule, or it could be like it could be no, it's a validation rule only. And with this validation, what we did is like we have make a fax value as a compulsory value. So if you are trying to enter a record, right? So the fax value is actually please select the value of the fax. So when you are either updating fax value is compulsory, and we are not supplying the value of fax over here. So let me go do one thing. Let me check it out. What is that validation rule that is firing? So in the account object, I am clicking this view validation rule. Okay, so there is no validation rule over here. So Let me go and do this with triggers. So probably I have written a trigger for that. So let me go with the triggers. Let me go with this account trigger. So in the account trigger, I have written the handler classes for that. So account before insert and before update, because we are trying to update. We are trying to update. That's why this trigger is firing, and so I should go to this particular class, account trigger handler. In that I should check for this method, handle before insert and update. So I'm going with that develop, and in develop I'm going with the apex class. What is that class? Account trigger handler. Okay. The class name is account trigger handler. Account trigger handler. And inside account trigger handler, I should check for handle before insert and update. This method, right? Handle before insert and update. This is the method. So here, if you can see that we have made ACC equals to fax, ACC equals to fax as compulsory. Like if you're trying to update, if you're trying to insert, if you're trying to update, if you're trying to insert, the fax value and the website value, these are compulsory. These are compulsory. ठीक है. And because in our JSON payload, what we are doing, we are trying to put मतलब update कर रहे हो, but you are only updating, you are only supplying the value of industry. So there are few of the records. जैसे ये एक record है. You wanted to see ये कौन सा record है? We can definitely go over here. We can definitely go over here, and what I can do is like I can simply paste that ID. I can simply paste that ID. और जब ये पर्टिकुलर रिकॉर्ड अपडेट हो रहा था, तो इस रिकॉर्ड में यू कैन सी फैक्स की वैल्यू और वेबसाइट की वैल्यू नहीं है, राइट. तो दैट्स व्हाई दैट अपडेशन हैज बीन हॉल्टेड. ये जो एरर यहाँ पर आपको जनरेट हुआ है, ये जो एरर यहाँ पे जनरेट हुआ है, कस्टम फील्ड वैलिडेशन का मतलब ये होता है कि या तो वैलिडेशन रूल हिट हुआ या फिर ट्रिगर हिट. तो वैलिडेशन रूल तो नहीं बनाया था मैंने, बट ट्रिगर हिट हुआ यहाँ. So what I can do over here is like what I can do over here is like I can do one thing is I'll edit this trigger. I'll edit this trigger and I deactivate this trigger. ठीक है. इस active की value मैंने trigger को deactivate कर दिया. Save. So before inserting, before updating, before deleting, this trigger is not going to get fired. This trigger is not going to be get fired. So even though there is no value of industry, even though there is no value of industry fax or website, the record is going to be get inserted, updated, deleted, right? Because what I did, I just have, I just have inactivated, I deactivated this particular trigger, right? Because this was actually creating a custom validation, right? Let me now execute this. So you can see that records updated. So let's go to the list of all of those account records, and let's go with the all accounts. And now if you can see all of the banking records, they are having same value, right? They are having this value of annual revenue, and the rating is becoming hot. Rating is hot for every one of them, right? For every one of them. We arrange the columns properly. Let's now see, what you did, for banking. It should like 79 lakh. So that has become, right, that's become over here. Every banking record, you can see every banking record, you can see it's now having 79 lakh, right? And rating is hot. Let me now try this with, for example, finance. Okay, how many we have finance? For finance, we don't have anything. Okay, we not try with insurance, education, insurance. Do I have anything for the education? Any records in here? Let me try to make some editing over here. Let me make this as finance. So let me make this as let me make this as finance, and let me save this. Let me make this as well as and save it. And let me make this as finance and save. So now we have few of the records with this industry finance. Okay, and there's no annual revenue in fact, and rating some of them are having, some of them are not having. But when I'm going to firing this, I'm going to fire this like, okay, so the rating is going to become warm and everyone will have this annual revenue. So let me once again hit this, let me hit this web service once again with this value finance. Okay, so I'm executing this once again. So ACC industry has supplied as finance and record is updated successfully. Let me now go to Salesforce and let's refresh this interface. So here, so here when you go to the, when you go to the finance, now you can see that every one of them is having this annual revenue. No, and every one of having this annual revenue, 57 lakh, and the rating becomes small. That means our web service is working absolutely fine, right? Our web service is working absolutely fine. So that was about the put method. Now let me tell you about the patch method. So patch, what actually patch will do is like, what actually the patch does. Patch will perform upsert operation. So if there is a record, if there is already a record, then it's going to update it. If there is no record, it's going to insert a record with the specific details. So I wanted you to try with this program. Program is with you. I'm going to explain the same thing. You just require to type it and try, right? So what you require to do is like, you require to create a web service and it should either perform an update operation. For all of those, hiring manager record the contact number is this. For the HR manager whose location is equals to the specified city name and the runtime. And if there is no such record, it should create a record as well. That means let's see the JSON payload. If I'm entering the city name has to be the Hyderabad. If I'm entering the city name has to be the Hyderabad. So what this web service should do rather is like, it will first of all, I'm firing a query that give me all of those hiring manager record whose location name is this. I'm capturing this inside this. So the location name is Hyderabad. Now let's take this as an example. We got five records of hiring manager whose city is like Hyderabad. Okay. Now after collecting that, it's going to assign the new value of the record. That means updating. That means updating the record. So for every such record, it's going to update this value. It's going to update this value. Okay, and it will update that. It will update it. Now, for example, if there is no such record, with Hyderabad city, so what this will do in that case, it's not going to update. Rather, it's going to create a new HR record. If there is no such record whose city is Hyderabad, then there will be no question of updating the record. You don't have any such record with the hiring manager whose city is Hyderabad. So in that case, what this is going to do, this is going to create a new HR record. So with this name and with this location, whatever, it's going to create a new record. So this is basically what the patch method will do. So if there is a record, it's going to perform the update operation. If there is no such record, it's going to create that particular record. That is what the purpose of patch method. So try with this program by yourself. This is the assignment. You have everything with you. By tomorrow, I'm going to start with the last topic, and that's OAuth authentication. But before I actually start with OAuth, I'm repeating. I wanted every one of you to install the Postman, because without this, there's no meaning to learn the OAuth authentication. You can only learn this with. You can only test OAuth authentication with your Postman app. So that's a very essential thing. Okay. So I wanted everyone of you to install this Postman onto your local device. That's very essential. Otherwise, you would not be able to practice on this OAuth authentication, right? So this is going to be the last topic of your integration. So by tomorrow, I'm going to take that topic, and tomorrow is like Thursday. So Thursday, it would be going to be ended, and from day after next, Friday, we are going to probably day after that, we are going to start with the deployment process, right? That's all. That's all. Shubham, WSDL is a kind of service where, if we wanted to integrate telephonic services, whenever we wanted to integrate the telephonic services with the Salesforce, we actually go with WSDL interface. So WSDL is specifically a kind of integration with the telephonic services. That's what the purpose of WSDL. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to ask? Anything else, guys, you wanted to ask? Yes. Anything else? Guys, anything else?